Thanks, Daniel. Now, let's listen to the predictions of Sub-Saharan with Ellie.
This is what Sub-Saharan Africa will look like in 2030. Individual empowerment will aid poverty elimination and create spillover effects into other parts of society. Accordingly, individual empowerment is inextricably linked with a growing middle class, greater education attainment, and the widespread use of new communications and manufacturing technologies. In comparison to other parts of the world, the growth of the middle class in African societies has still been limited. However, some countries such as Nigeria, Rwanda, and South Africa, as well as the so-called African Lion states, have set the stage for a small but fast-growing middle class. This evolution constitutes an encouraging sign at neutralizing global income disparities and provides the key to fighting poverty. In the decades to come, the vast majority of the world's population, an estimated 6.3 billion people, will live in big cities, primarily because of better job prospects. In this respect, Sub-Saharan Africa is leading the world. Apart from growing environmental concerns, surging urbanization is widely linked to a higher school completion rates, a better provision of new technologies and modern infrastructure, and a higher probability of attaining middle-class income status. By 2030, Africa will have surpassed Asia as the region with the highest urbanization growth rate. Demographics pose another global megatrend. Aging populations in the Western Hemisphere, China, Taiwan, South Korea, and Japan will put Sub-Saharan Africa in a unique position as the demand for cheap labor will persist, and thus, in the long run, only Africa will be capable of satisfying the global need for a young and cheap labor force. Consequently, global migration will increase, not decrease, since industrialized nations will experience severe workforce shortages and a significant drop in the global income share due to reaching post-major demographics by 2030. The median age of Sub-Saharan Africa is the only one that will not have decreased by then. In the light of changing patterns of violence accounting for a decrease in large-scale organized political violence in relation with an increase in electoral and religious violence, the widespread incapacity of Sub-Saharan governments to deal with the sub-state, terrorism, the idleness of regional governance, building processes, and the increasing danger of interstate conflict in the region pose serious non-economic threats to a rising Africa until 2030 and beyond.
Very interesting. Now, let's listen to the predictions of Beatriz.
Thanks, Billy. Meanwhile, in Middle East and North Africa, it's expected that Iran will be developing nuclear weapons, and in the Middle East will be facing an unsustainable time. Also, the borders will be different from the existing ones. This because of the Islamic government in Egypt and the fragmentation of Syria and Iraq. Yemen population will grow by 2030. There will be around 50 million inhabitants. On the other hand, Yemen will be a security concern as it faces poverty, unemployment, and a weak government. Apart from tourism, energy, and real estate, there won't be new investments. Therefore, only 2% of the foreign direct investment will be directed to the Middle East. The expansion of the sub-Saharan economy will increase the Middle East opportunities. By 2005, the population of the Middle East and North Africa accounts for 386 million. The growth rates are diminishing in North Africa but remain very high in some areas. Globally, we can expect 585 million in 2030. Despite some very good assets, oil and gas, the gross national income only attains 910 billion with an average income per capita of 2,360 in 2004. Then, thanks to the expected rise of the crude oil price until 2015, it would attain 1,710 billion in 2030. On the other hand, terrorism, external and civil wars, and Western containment policy could not result in a global fall of the GNI. An aging population by 2030 may face a healthcare crisis absent a better provision welfare system. Arab civilization is suffering a serious mental disease. It looks like schizophrenia. Indeed, the Arab world nurtures a wrong vision of religion and history as a result only encounters humiliating failures. According to the analysis and predictions of the Free World Academy, the religion Islam is not going to change in MENA. It has not changed since 17th century, so they don't think that any important variation will happen from now to 2030.